It's Lewie.
Davey, hello.
We're doing some Activier videos today.
Mm-hmm.
Got two reformers down here, both with Activiers in the back. The active guitar module, 200 watt. They are solid state power. They're absolutely amazing. We've got 8 ohm drivers today, so they'll be running at 100 watts because they're 200 watts into 4 ohm, 100 watts into 8 ohm, 50 watts into 16 ohm. So choices there depending on what it is you want to go with. I've been using these a lot recently on gigs, and I've been going through 8 ohm. So that's 100 watt, and yeah, they're kind of sat at half for the gigs that I do, which is just crazy. So you've got loads of headroom to play with here. But first off, like, kind of, what are they for? What's the point? What's the purpose? We've just been saying, like, this is a bit of an overdue video, I think, just to have a little chat about when you'd use these, why you'd use them, what you want to use them for, what they're replacing, what you gain out of it. Just kind of go through those ideas, really.
Yeah.
We're going through the Quad Cortex. That little intro was on that. Got a bunch of different presets I've lined up here to show, again, the positives of going through some kind of modelling and what you're going to get from that rather than going for a tube amp. As much as I love them and as great as they are, mine is over there, not being used at the moment, because this thing is so versatile and these things are so light and powerful. Yeah, it's crazy.
There's so many people switching to digital modelers, and something like the Quad Cortex, which can go in the front of your guitar bag, and you just have that on your back and you turn to a gig. Straight into the desk.
Yeah,
that's what I imagine a lot of people do. And why would a speaker cab benefit that, like, this setup? And I think that was one of the questions we wanted to answer, one of the things we wanted to address. And really, more than anything, in the same way that, you know, a lot of bassists might be moving on to modelling, they might just have like a DI power amp on their board which goes straight into the desk. So much of it's to feel.
Yeah.
You were saying you would have it on stage almost purely for yourself. Yeah,
I run these as stage monitoring. All the club gigs I do. This is where we get into, like, what kind of gigs you're using digital modelling for. So the obvious one is like big pop gigs, right? You're playing for Dua Lipa, you're running Ableton backing tracks, everything's time coded to the lights, to the presets are being switched for you. It's off stage. You don't have to worry about it. You're on wireless. At which point you're not going to be anywhere near a cab. You're on wireless ears. Like, that world is kind of in and of itself.
Yeah.
Kind of something we don't need to worry about.
No.
But obviously these are used, the Quad Cortex and all that kind of modelling is used in that world a lot.
Yeah.
So why would you choose to use it in another world? I do a lot of functions, and I take this with me because, again, we have to set up an entire PA, load down an entire PA at midnight, 6-piece band, everyone's on ears. There's loads of work to do, and it just makes everything a bit easier. And I get loads and loads and loads of different sounds for all the different, you know, classic guitar sounds. If there's a Queen song, if there's a Nirvana song, if there's a, you know, whatever, Nile Rodgers thing. And I take this with me anyway, even though I'm on ears. I've kind of got it there for feel, and you never know. It might be a really horrible sounding room. The ears might not be working very well that night. Something might happen, and it's so easy to carry compared to like some of the bigger cabs that I take with the tube amp. It's just like, well, I might as well just chuck it in the boot. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's so light, I'll walk it in. It takes me 30 seconds more to bring it in. And then you've kind of got that feel. Sometimes I take one ear out. The other gig where I think they really come into themselves is where you're not on ears and you're using it like a tube amp, which is what I was doing last night. Had a club gig, and this was my rig, and it gets mic'd up. I can also send a DI out of the quad, which I do a lot. Sometimes the engineers prefer that. And then that's a whole world of trying to match your IRs to that front of house, or sometimes ignoring it like I do and having a guitar driver in here, and the sound at front of house in here is slightly different. They sound great, they feel great. I mean, we're going through the V-type at the moment over here, and we've got the Neo Creamback in this one here. They're both 8 ohm. We're not going through an F12 X200, which is the full range Celestion, so we'd be doing like IRs and all that stuff. We're not doing that today. Going IRless, going through these, because that's how I prefer it the most.
I think that is another perk of getting a reformer or any of our AVD
Mm-hmm.
guitar cabs with a specific driver, because see the option to have IRs,
Yeah.
use all of these different speaker cab configurations within your Quad Cortex, within your HX Stomps. That's nice, but if you know that you have one speaker that you prefer and you agree with, and I mean nothing's going to really compare to just having the driver in a box.
Yeah.
And with the AVD panel, and the purpose of that is to get the back of the speaker and more of the mids and highs. So whilst you're actually on stage, this acts, like Lou was saying, almost like monitoring, but that also, you know, for any of the musicians that kind of sit along or like behind you on stage, they're also going to benefit from it. So you also, obviously you're getting amazing amount of power and tone coming from the back, but so much gets missed when you have a closed back cab. So that is one of the defining features. That is the defining feature, I'd say, of the barefaced guitar cab.
I forget about that. I'm so used to it at this point.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing.
Yeah. As Louis said, they are both 8 ohm. Neo Creamback is 60 watts, 97 dB sensitivity, and the V-Type is 70 watt, 98 dB sensitivity. So there's not a whole lot of difference between them. So we should.
We'll see.
I mean, this is more to showcase what the Activier is, how it can be beneficial, how it can carry some of the effects that you might use, some of the drives that you might put through your that you might have on your Quad Cortex, and really it was just so we had an alternative driver to show you, just to get some of the variation in tone.
It's a constant world that changes, isn't it? Like pedal boards, you're never at your final setup, and I think it's the same with drivers. There's such nuance between some of them really obvious, some not so, and these are close, but there's difference there, so it's going to show. So, you know, that's what we do here, so we're always going to have a couple on display.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Should we do some play?
We should.
This is like standard setup I'd use for a gig. It's a Fender Twin with a couple of drives, a rotary or a tremolo, bit of delay and reverb, and that would kind of get me through most gigs really. We're going to start in the V-Type.
Nice.
I'm still finally coming to terms with how good this thing sounds, and it's just taken me so long to get there. It's taken a little bit of like dialing in and getting things ready, but like I can take a massive pedal board and my tube amp and my big cab, or I can just like have this and that. You know, like I think that sounds pretty much as good as a tube amp does now.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? They're so good. Fundamentally, the reason that this is great, the Activier in the back of the cab, is that I don't have to have a power amp, pedal or any kind of thing like that on my board, which you'd have usually to get you up to enough power to drive the speaker. You're going to have that somewhere. This won't do it on its own. What the Activier is that in the back of the cab, and it's a really high power, really clean version of it. So it's all in one. You don't have to take up space on your board. You don't have to like spend ages looking at what the options are out there. They've all got EQs on them as well. Like it's a lot. It's another whole world to dive into, and another consideration. Whereas this is like you just plug into the cab. It's kind of like it's an active cab, but it looks like a cab. It doesn't look like a PA system like a lot of them do. And you can put an actual guitar driver in it, which I think is quite a new thing. I don't think many of them out there do that. They're all full range. So again, more versatility. I put another one together here, a little bit heavier. Let's just go straight in with that. We'll start with the V-Type and we'll just flip through the two of them as well. I'm just going to keep going through different sounds just to show how versatile it is if you want to be getting into this world and using one of these cabs.
Sweet.
Let's go dirty, I think. V-Type. actually sounded way more different than I thought it was going to be on the drivers there. I know we're not kind of in that world today, but that Neo Cream sounded a bit nicer in that world for me.
Absolutely. Well, I was always get surprised by the Neo range. So we've covered the copper back, which is another Neo driver. But it's incredible, as we say many times, in one of our cabs, how light they are, but how much power they can push out.
Forget about that. Yeah, that one was chunky. That was really chunky. I don't use these drivers, but I need to start like playing with them on gigs and seeing how they get on. I'm going to skip this preset. No, I'm not. I basically made one earlier because I think this is where this kind of thing comes into its own. The next preset after this really shows it off, but I kind of made one that was like a Nile Rodgers thing with a Roland Jazz chorus and then also a Fender Twin, which will engage afterwards. So like the clean thing is with a compressor, the jazz chorus, and then you're just going to Nile Rodgers all day with it. Any of those things that you need to do on your gig, you're fine. And then add your Fender Twin in, add a, what's the green overdrive?
Tube Screamer.
Thank you. It says green 808 here, and I always get confused. They call Boss products on here Chief, which took me so long to get my head around.
Mix things up a little.
And then you're in Stevie Ray world.
Nice.
Yeah, that world. That was a horrible lick at the end.
What an amazing piece of kit.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, so this was the last one we were just messing with earlier. Which is crazy, and I guess that's kind of what it boils down to here, is that like I can have a preset that's set up for a Nile Rodgers sound, a preset that's set up for a Stevie Ray kind of sound, something that's crazy Hendrix with loads of rotary, something that's really heavy, a bit more Brian May-esque, and then this stuff, and it can just be presets in your banks and you're ready to go. And
it's just become a Quad Cortex advert by this point.
It kind of has, isn't it?
Which,
whether it's Quad or HX Stomp or the Boss or any of these, you know.
I haven't gotten fully to grips with it yet, but I use a simplifier, which is the all analog 0-watt amplifier from DSM Humboldt, and I've used that on a handful of shows.
With one of these?
I've used an active reformer with a V-type.
Nice.
It might have been a Neo V-type, so it might be kind of like a very similar vibe to this. But I also did use an upsetter with a G10 Vintage. An active upsetter.
Cool, okay.
As well. And that was great again in terms of portability. Tiny board with just the simplifier, and if you see it pop it up on the screen now, it's tiny.
It's
mini, tiny. That and this upsetter, it's just.
Did
it's
you just
ridiculous.
have the one cab?
Yeah, just the one cab.
Cool. Because that's also the thing in terms of space. Even if you took two upsetters, because I mean this preset's going ping pong delays and stuff for stereo stuff, which is kind of Davey's world. We're going to do another video on that shortly.
It's coming.
You've got a massive stereo rig done, ready to go. One board, couple of cables out, two really light cabs.
Absolutely,
it's actually crazy what you can get out of this.
Again, versus people that decide, okay, I need to do a stereo rig, so I need to have a tube and a combo, or have two combos.
I'm doing a stereo rig with my tube amps at the moment. It's a nightmare. That's what my full board with like 4 cables coming out of it. I have to take 2 tube amps on top of my 212 cab that I have to split into stereo. It's wicked, but it's like so big and so much work.
Oh yeah.
And still, in fairness, not as versatile as all the things we've just done on this.
This is the big boy. This is the upsizing. This is actually one we've done a video on recently. Bass,
so beautiful.
baritone. And so again, for anyone that's using bass, baritone, digital modelling, I'm sure this would be possible.
Yeah, it fits.
Active module there, and see for these we're using the Activier 1, the mono, Activier 2 stereo, 2 inputs right in the back. It's a bit of a beast, but if you're playing more high profile shows and you want to have the size of enclosure, that means that you can tune lower and you can have for your baritone or even just for your drop tunings. That's what this bad boy, this is where it excels.
Let's do a bit of that next then. I think in the next video we'll do some down tuning baritone. We've got the 8 string, haven't we?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
well, there we are.
There's exciting things, and we want people to order them so we can actually try them out, because
there's a lot of options, and we can try them all, but you guys can get creative with it and do things that we probably wouldn't think about.
This has been at the back of Alex's mind for a while.
Yeah.
It was only because somebody put the order in and said, I need this specific thing.
And we made it.
And so if it comes to an active cab, you know, you might want to have an Alnico on the top and say like a V30 on the bottom or something a bit more traditional, like a G12 65 Heritage, and you want to just be able to have that separation, but also the blend, and if you want to be, whether it's looping things or doing stereo delay, ping pong, you have that option. There's just so many variations, and we want to work with people that, you know, want to
do cool things with them.
Do really cool things with them, and we're very excited for the coming months and the coming years with
it is exciting
modelling, developing, and getting to a point where people might start realising, having it in your ears, having it in your ears, going straight to desk, you lose that feeling.
Yeah.
And that's where having a really solid cab can work wonders.
I'm now at that point.
Yeah.
I've made the switch. Not forever. I've still got the tubes, but they're sick. It's just really exciting that they look like cabs. I think that's the thing people seem to be getting excited about, is that a lot of the active cabs out there, they're great. I won't name brand names because that's probably really illegal. But these look like traditional guitar cabs, and that's just cool as hell.
Yeah.
And they're great. So just be cool and buy one.
Yeah. There we go.
Cheers.
And buy a Quad Cortex. Bye-bye.
Bye.